Welcome back, everybody, to Wake and Bake News, where we like to make sure you stay lit and stay informed. I'm, I'm your host, PaperSin, and I'm awake. I'm baked, and I'm here to bring you some news. And in today's news, I still got a swollen face, but I'm still here to bring you today's news. And in today's news, we have a video here for as an update to the David case, to the D4VD case, the David case, the David case, as some might call them. So, in this video comes by the YouTuber Atozy. Here, check this out. Boop. Yep, TikTok singer D4VD's life is over as he knows it. Now, if you don't remember who he is, or if you've been living on a rock and you don't know who he, if you don't know, never knew who he was, D4VD is a former Fortnite player. He used to create montages and with music and upload them to the internet. However, they kept getting like either demonetized or taken down or restricted or whatever because the music in them would be copyright. Excuse me. So D4VD's mom suggested, why don't you just make your own music so you can get past so you don't have to worry about it being copyrighted. You can that way you can do your Fortnite montages and upload them with no problem. So he was like, you know what, that's a good idea. So he started off by doing like this chipmunk sounding effect music. Obviously I never listened. I don't really care about it, but it started to be a hit. He actually started to be a hit so hard he started to gain popularity. You know, and eventually he did make songs without the chipmunk sound effect, but he, like, when I say he gained popularity, he was blowing up. You know what I'm saying? He was blowing up. But then something happened. He ended up, he had a Tesla that was rented under his name, and cops found a body in it. So at first they didn't arrest him because he wasn't a suspect, but eventually he became a suspect, and while he was on tour, he had to end his tour, and the cops took him in, and now he's going through trials and trials, not trials and tribulations, but he's going through trials, and he is facing years behind bars. His life ruined. Now, why did he find a body? Why was a body found in the rental that he was using? Well, first off, the body was of a young girl. 15-year-old, by the way. And why was she in his trunk? Turns out he had a relationship with her. It eventually came out that they were dating and they were intimate. So he was fucking a minor. And we also ended up finding out that she wanted more from the relationship, because all she was doing was like coming over and having sex and just kind of hanging out. But she wanted more from the relationship, as women tend to want. But here's the thing, she was a minor, and if they went public with their relationship, he would have been in trouble. But it sounds like she didn't care. And from what we know, and from what I believe happened, I think she was planning to come out to the public that they were dating, or maybe they had an argument, and one of the things that she wanted to use against him was to come out to the public about them. And obviously he didn't like that, and he didn't want that, because he was just blowing up. His music career was just going off, and she was going to ruin his shit. So he calls her over. He comes to their, she goes over to his spot where he's staying. And that was where she spent the last moments of her life. I mean, cops even found a furnace in that thing. Like, you were gonna burn the body or something, bro? But anyway, we have an update on the D4VD case. Let's get to it. Links will be in the description below. And yeah, let's get it.
The TikTok singer and songwriter who...
Oh, wait, hold on. My headphones aren't turned on. There we go.
The TikTok singer and songwriter who was arrested and charged for the horrific crimes against a 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez recently finished his 5-day preliminary trial. And I guess you could say, just when we thought the story couldn't get any worse, yeah, way more disturbing evidence came out. So I don't think it's a shocker to say it's not looking good for the 21-year-old singer and songwriter who I guess retired himself early. I mean,
by the way, remember, if you'd never heard of him, like from before, this guy made a song that pretty much outlined that he killed his lover. You know what I'm saying? In the song. And people interviewed him about the song, and he would be like, "Yeah, in my mind, I killed her, and when I I was done with the relationship." Then the nigga did that shit in real life, and you had a song about it. How would you do that? Or you made a song about it?
Pretty much safe to say
Whatever.
the dude's life as he knows it is over, and this is just such a disgusting tragedy, such an avoidable tragedy. It's a tragedy all around.
All around, he's gonna say.
I mean, David went from the height of his career to possibly facing life behind bars or actually a lethal injection, all within roughly a year. And obviously, that's nothing compared to the fact that a young girl tragically lost her life because I guess he thought that might protect him. Was he the dumb tragically lost?
That says, for those of you listening, there's something on the screen. He's showing the title of an article. The title reads, David charged with brutal and horrific murder to protect music career from underage something probe. Anyway,
lost her life because I guess he thought that might protect him. Was he the dumbest criminal alive? I don't know, but regardless, it seems like he's ended his career and potentially his life as well, all because of his disgusting actions. And this,
if convicted as charged, what that say? Sometimes I hate when he puts these little things up, and while he's talking, I gotta read the thing. But anyway, if convicted as charged, Burke faces death or life in state prison without the possibility of parole. Decision on whether to seek the death penalty will be made at a later date.
he's ended his career and potentially his life as well, all because of his disgusting actions. And this case has already been insanely dark and hard to cover just because of these circumstances and just Celeste being so young, but it also just really continues to get worse. You guys probably remember this news coming out roughly a year ago. I covered it twice when, you know, everything first came out and then when he was finally arrested. And since then, obviously, there's been a whole bunch of updates. And honestly, it is just all downhill from essentially when we found out about the story. And unfortunately, like, things just got so much darker as the evidence was presented and testimonies were given. But just in case you don't know what's been going on in this case, I will give you a quick recap to get you guys up to date. So everything started last September when workers in a Los Angeles tow yard noticed a foul smell coming from an abandoned Tesla that had been parked in that lot for a few months. And of course, we now know that car belonged to the popular music artist and TikToker David, who also just so happened to be on tour during the discovery of this horrific scene. So when authorities arrived to this tow yard and searched the car, they unfortunately found human remains in the trunk, and it was clear that they had been there for a while. And it only took a couple of days for the remains from the car to be identified as the missing 14-year-old girl, Celeste Rivas Hernandez. And at first, David tried to ignore the headlines that his Tesla had just been used in this horrific crime scene, but he did cancel his world tour and immediately started laying low. So fans then wanted to believe that it was a terrible coincidence, but it didn't take long at all for the public to dig up a whole bunch of photos, clips, and Discord messages from the past that seemed to link David to the missing girl Celeste.
Not to mention the song he made about doing the same type of shit to a girl.
And we're talking about things like him joking about having a baby with her in a Discord server, or clips from her old live stream making comments about their not only troubling but illegal age gap, and also not to mention she apparently had a matching tattoo with David on her finger. Yeah, it wasn't looking good, and it keeps getting worse because all of this evidence made it, you know, very much seem like it was very possible that David could have had a romantic relationship with Celeste, despite him being 20 and her being 13 to 14. And this theory also gave him a pretty good motive, considering, you know, his career would be over right as it started if it came out that he was actually dating a child. Even worse, if he got that child pregnant. But regardless, like I said, fans didn't want to believe that he could actually be responsible for this. But I mean, no one could really argue that his creative direction was also pretty alarming because, you know, his biggest hits were titled things like Romantic Homicide, and the music videos depicted someone being, you know, taken out and thrown into a trunk. And it also started to seem like he was leaving some clues and wanted people to point fingers.
Why would you do this? Like, talk about niggas telling on themselves for real, for real. This nigga tried to be slick with it. He tried to put it as a puzzle, like he was the Riddler and Batman, except better. Because even Batman figures out what the fuck the Riddler is doing with his riddles. This man thought he was better than the Riddler, and he thought this was Gotham or something. This man is as delusional as most women, or even or more. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you do that? Put that shit in. Like, did you just want to get caught, nigga? Did you see? Did you subconsciously want to get caught? Why would you do this? That's so dumb. But we should be glad he did it, because now he's behind bars and going through trials. But still, what the fuck? Like, niggas just be telling on themselves, bro.
I mean, which leaves you with so many questions. Like, everything about this story leaves you with why? Why would you ever do this? Why would you ever do this to someone? And if you're actually a psychopath, you clearly have to be a psychopath to do something like that. But also, if you are a psychopath, why would you do that to yourself?
See?
All of it just doesn't make sense. Then on top of everything, why does he leave breadcrumb trails? Or actually, this wasn't even breadcrumb trails. Why does he leave red tape that just leads straight up to him? All of it is just so disgusting and stupid. And it's kind of like, what did he expect? A congratulations, bozo? Like, he achieved something that very few can actually achieve, and then he threw it all away. And the general...
He's talking about the music. Like, he chose something he actually, that not everybody could achieve. He's talking about, like, the music, the fame, and the fortune. And then he did just throw that shit all away. But at the same time, this was a buildup. He had been gathering, like, the whole time he was building his career. It's like he had been getting, he was slowly putting it in a trash bag just to throw it all away. Because remember, the entire time he was building up his career, he was dating that 13-year-old. They were together for like 2 years before she died at the age of 15. Before he killed her at the age of 15. So it's like, bruh, you literally made the trap. Then you placed the trap, and then you put everything that could help you or save you or keep you from trapping yourself. You took all that and put it as far away from the trap as you could, and then you proudly strolled up to the trap and stepped right in it. That's what you did. That's what the fuck you did. And you just, you screwed yourself from the beginning. The entire time. You were fucking yourself raw the entire time because you were dating this 13-year-old while you're building up your career. Like, nigga. All you gotta do is not do stupid shit in life. But people are gonna live life how they wanna. And that's why we have what we have for content.
Public absolutely believed he was responsible, like even becoming enraged at authorities for not taking him in immediately. And it took a few months before anyone was actually arrested, and people were worried that this was going to get swept out on a rug somehow due to, I guess, David's fame. But in April 2026...
because most most celebrities get away with a bunch of BS because of their celebrity status. But I think David was too new of a celebrity. He probably couldn't have made those connections just yet, or he was too new of a celebrity, and those powers that be or whatever were decided to just cut him loose because he wasn't worth it. Like, he hadn't proved that he was worth it yet. You know what I'm saying? Just because he got into stardom with his music he didn't prove that he was worth it by, you know, showing how much money he can bring in, showing his potential for their cause and shit like that, or whatever they want, or whatever they be looking for. And so I think they probably just cut him loose and said, nah, that's not worth trying to save him. Let him fall.
David was finally arrested and charged in connection with the murder of Celeste. And his former charges were first-degree murder, lewd and lascivious acts with an individual under 14, and mutilating the remains of a body. So the LA District Attorney, Nathan Hotchman, allegedly said that David had a long-term relationship with an underage girl while he was an adult, and he took her life to protect his career. So it seems like that the detectives agreed with the motive that the internet kind of concluded on as well. And I guess after all of this time had passed, it seems like finally someone was going to do something about this and the dude would be held responsible. But for a few months following this, David's preliminary hearing kept getting pushed back due to how much evidence there was in this case. Then finally, on July 21st, the preliminary hearing was set to begin, and the trial attracted so much public attention that the court held a public lottery for seats at the hearing. And content creators like
the court will conduct. I gotta read this one. I skipped a lot of them. That if you're just listening, I skipped a lot of these little pop-ups he was showing. But I want to read this one. The court will conduct a public lottery for 10 public seats and 10 standby seats from 7:30 to 8:15 a.m. in the first floor lobby area of the Clara Shortridge Bolts Criminal Justice Center on each day of the preliminary hearing, beginning on Tuesday, July 21st through Thursday, July 23rd.
Court held a public lottery for seats at the hearing, and content creators like Trappler Ross and Sloan managed to actually win some seats, and they were able to provide live updates during the breaks. So I'll include some clips and information from them alongside of the information presented online.
Okay guys, so I was one of the 10 people that were allowed to go into the courthouse, and we've seen some pretty disturbing things so far.
So the trial started, and day after day, more and more stomach churning details just kept on getting presented. And the picture that all of this evidence painted was absolutely not good whatsoever. It didn't look good for David. So not that anyone was really on his side at this point, but ugh. So according to the LA County District Attorney's Office, during a 5-day preliminary hearing, the prosecutors laid out the framework of their case against David. Some of the new information that came out states that Celeste apparently went to David's Hollywood Hills home on April 23rd, 2025, and was never seen again. Then apparently the very next day, David is accused of ordering a shovel to his home. And then over the next few days,
Nigga. So she goes missing the day on a day, right? She goes missing one day. The very next day you order a shovel, you know they're gonna know where she went missing because they can just track the cell phone. We know you've seen that in movies. That's like one thing in movies that's very true. They can track cell phones and the last ping the cell phone was at. So it's like, nigga, like she went missing at your place, and then the very next day at your place you order a shovel to your place. Nigga, are you serious, bruh? It's like, she went missing. Hey, what you ordered that shovel for, fam? Like, little suspicious. Nigga, you could have got in the car and drove and bought a shovel with cash instead of credit card, because cash can't be traced like credit cards can. But instead you order one to your place. Why are people stupid? God.
Using an alias, David allegedly also ordered 3 chainsaws, a body bag, and a blue inflatable pool. Yeah.
Nigga! Way to shout out, it's me. It's me. I did it. Come and get me. Like, are you serious, nigga? Holy, bruh. Oh my God, this shit is just, at some point, this shit just gets funny as fuck. Like, obviously the sad part is still that a young girl's life was lost. But on the other side of the coin, the shit that this nigga did, like if this was a TV show, this would be a comedy and we'd be laughing our asses off, bro. obviously, but this isn't a TV show, which is why this is sad because a girl lost her life. But this nigga made so many mistakes and like hammered in so many arrows that led to him and point all around him. And then he put on a t-shirt that says, "I did it," and just walked around in public in front of the cops with that t-shirt. And that's the part that's fucking hilarious. It's like, thank you for letting us know that you did it. Thank you for showing us. We don't even really have to do much police work here. Thank you for letting us know that you're the one that did it. That way, now this girl can rest in peace.
And if that doesn't give you chills after we now know that his alleged underage lover, went missing, I don't know. And forgive me for how graphic this is, but it's important that we acknowledge how dark this crime was. So prosecutors allege that David stabbed Celeste and then placed her body in the inflatable pool and used a chainsaw to dismember her before he placed her in the trunk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just crazy to think how happy little dancing TikToker is literally the worst of human beings, if this is true. You know, he hasn't been sentenced by a court of law yet.
Wouldn't the blood still splatter into the yard? Like, how big was this? It's an inflatable pool, not like a huge, probably not like a huge inflatable pool. Like, when I picture an inflatable pool, I picture like one of those little kiddie pools. It's not like this thing was big enough to make sure that no blood splattered onto the yard. I mean, that's why people just put plastic up on the walls and shit like that. At least in like movies and shit. I don't know if they do that shit in real life. They just put plastic on the walls and shit and cover the entire room in plastic to make sure that nothing, make sure they contain all the DNA. But like this, at least this nigga made sure to tell us he is guilty.
So, allegedly, but it's definitely not looking good for him. And their evidence for this is partially the blood found in David's garage, as well as the small blue plastic fragments, apparently from the pool, that were embedded in the victim's remains found inside of the Tesla.
Let's just start off with the pool. So yesterday I told you guys that we didn't have any information about the pool. Well, today we did. So the blue inflatable pool that was supposedly blown up and put in the garage, and David unalived Celeste there to collect the blood, it was found. Let's just talk about the garage in general. So there were stains all around. There were stains near this like kind of gym area. There were also cuts inside of the floor mat. So imagine like a garage with brick flooring and black mats all on top of it. So they found stains all over the mats and they found signs of blood, but then they pulled up the flooring and there was so much blood that was like stained on the floor of the bricks. You could tell that a crime was committed there.
Yeah. This is definitely one of the heavier topics I cover here on this channel, but since I guess it is like one of the craziest things that's happened, especially in the influencer sphere, which is the sphere that I mostly cover, just like, shocking online content is kind of the niche that we cover here. And yeah, it's safe to say that's probably one of the most shocking ones that we've covered. And this guy was a big socialite and had a whole bunch of celebrity friends. But Sloan also talks about the blue pieces being shown in the evidence photos of the body as well.
We saw pictures of her body. There was a photograph of her knee at one point, like her knee cap, and it had all of these like blue pieces of plastic in it from the chainsaw. I also saw her body in the Tesla with her head and her arms cut off. It was so graphic and it's really upsetting.
And as for the motive being presented, prosecutors actually made a claim very similar to what many viewers assumed based on what they found themselves. Prosecutors stated that David had a lucrative career that he wanted to protect and that he had received text messages from Celeste in the days leading up to her passing where she threatened to expose David and destroy his career. And all signs currently point to David panicking at these threats and taking the life of a young girl and then dumping her body in a car on the side of the road. And I guess just hoping that it would all go away. All of this is just so confusing as well because like he did all this and then just left the car to be towed. Like, clearly he's not very smart because every step of this whole story is just like, how can you be this stupid, man? But also, I mean, we're not really complaining that this vile individual is stupid because at least he was caught. So again, he did all this so he wouldn't lose his $1 million record deal or whatever.
I don't know if it's Louis or Louis.
And then he still ended up losing everything because he made it so easy for him to get caught, thankfully.
He worked at Interscope, or he's really high up at Interscope, and he spoke about like handling the contracts and ultimately terminating David. I still don't really understand why he took the stand, unless it was to prove how much money David has made, because they did talk about how much he could have made at Interscope, which could have been like over $20 million. Thank God.
What a vile human being. But yeah, now a Superior Court judge has ordered that he has to.
Damn, he would have made a lot of money. But like I said, he's been fucking himself raw that entire time because he was dating the girl since she was 13 while he was building up his career. Like, why? Like, why? All you gotta do is not do stupid shit. If he was never dating her in the first place, he would have made his career would have taken off. He would have been just fine. He'd still be on tour or would have finished his tour, maybe making tour more music, dropping another song. I don't know. All he had to do was not date a fucking minor in the first place. Like, nigga, how hard is it to just not do stupid shit? The fuck?
Stand trial for this, meaning the case is going forward and the district attorney thinks that they actually have a good shot at winning.
Good afternoon. My name is Nathan Hochman. I'm the Los Angeles County District Attorney. Today I am here to announce that Judge Charlene Olmedo held David Anthony Burke, who goes by the name of a singer David spelled D4VD, to answer for the horrific and barbaric killing of a 14-year-old at the time, Celeste Rivas Hernandez. She has held him to answer for first-degree murder with the special circumstances of lying in wait, doing this crime for financial gain, and a witness to an investigation.
So Los Angeles County District Attorney Nathan J. Hochman said, what was presented by our office over the course of the last week is a small but illustrative fraction of the evidence investigators have accumulated that proves defendant Burke is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of the brutal murder of Celeste Rivas Hernandez. And if convicted as charged, David faces life in state prison without the possibility of parole, but he also has to deal with the possibility of a death penalty, which in California would be a lethal injection.
At this point, again, we don't have the one additional consideration is that Mr. Burke now is eligible for death penalty. The death penalty considerations are now being weighed.
And the DA's office says that the decision whether to seek the death penalty will be made later on, but isn't off the table. Right now, David is scheduled to return in court on August 31st for a post-preliminary arraignment. And this is apparently where we'll likely get his new trial dates along with a new plea from him. Previously, he's pleaded not guilty, so it'll definitely be interesting to see if he changes his tune this time around. And all we can really hope for is that there is some justice found for Celeste and her family. Again, I don't normally cover stories this dark, but I do feel like it's important that her story is heard. And I'll follow up on the story when we have some more updates, but until then, I'll see you guys next video. Peace.
Man, that's something. Like, this story is so tragic that you can't help it but be happy he didn't get away with it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's also so honestly stupid. All he had to do was not date a minor. That's it. Like, this is what happens when you do stupid shit from the jump. Then that's it's like the stupid shit sets off the wick of dynamite. That just the wick lasts a certain amount of years until. But I don't know if he should get the death penalty because the death might be too good to too easy for him. Like, if he spends life in prison and all the prisoners know what he did, he could just spend his life getting his ass whooped by all the prisoners every day. I think that would be better than just him sitting on a table and then falling asleep. Because they're not going to recreate Celeste's death on him for the death penalty. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to stab and kill him and then dismember him. They're just going to lethal inject him, so he's just going to fall asleep. And that's it. Yeah, he'll be dead. That's good. But would it be better if he just spent his life getting his ass whooped by all the prisoners and stays in prison and like, you know what I'm saying, he himself gets raped and gets beaten in prison like every day, or at least for years. Isn't that better? You know what I'm saying? Or maybe like we can postpone the death penalty by like 20 years and then make sure we tell all the prisoners what he's did, so that way like 20 years he can get his ass whooped and raped by all the prisoners, and then after the 20 years they can kill him. I don't know. Let me know what y'all think in the comments below. But yeah, I'm out. Peace. Much love to you.